Welcome back to our channel, football fans. Today we're going to be talking about the intriguing story of Christian Pulisic, the talented American soccer player who seemed destined for greatness. However, his career took an unexpected turn, and now he went from playing at Chelsea and he seems to be joining AC Milan. Join us as we explore the decline of Christian Pulisic and the factors that led to his struggles at Chelsea Football Club. To provide some context for the player we're going to be talking about, Christian Pulisic burst onto the scene at a young age, making his debut, signing for Dortmund at 16 years old. His early performances showed immense talent and immense promise, and it wasn't long before Chelsea decided to sign him in 2019 with the hopes of getting into the American market. Now, Pulisic's move to Chelsea was met with some excitement for that very reason that I just laid on about getting to the American market. And in his first season, however, he seemed to start off slowly, but he had showed glimpses of the talent that was the reason that he was brought to Chelsea in the first place. Just when doubts were starting to creep in about his potential, Pulisic had exploded for a big game against Burnley, in which he scored a perfect hat-trick. It was looked at to be a defining moment for him and a start of something great. And while he didn't initially continue on that trajectory, something had changed in the summer of 2020 amidst the Premier League lockdown period. He found his stride and he ended that season in a high note, finishing with 11 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League. And with such a great end to the season, it was thought that the sky was going to be the limit for him, and this was going to be the foundation of what was going to be a promising Chelsea career. Unfortunately, the following seasons didn't live up to expectations, as Pulisic has seemed to stagnate and eventually decline. So I guess that begs the question of what went wrong. And we have three main factors to blame for this. So we have injuries, a lack of consistency in terms of roles, as well as a lack of playing time. So we're going to go through each factor one by one and truly break down everything that's gone wrong in terms of his Chelsea career. So when it comes to injuries, leaving off where we just left off, it's the summer of 2020. It's his first season at Chelsea, and as I said, it's ended on a high. This was not the time that you want to be picking up injuries, and unfortunately for Pulisic, that's what had happened. Specifically, during the end of that season to the end of last season, Pulisic has suffered a crazy 8 injuries in that time span. And what was particularly damning in that time period was between the months of August to November of 2020, where he seemed to pick up three separate but major injuries. He picked up a calf sprain, a calf injury, as well as a hamstring injury. And those 3 injuries in particular are the injuries that I think played the biggest factor in his decline, as when you look at his underlying numbers pre and post those injuries, it tells a very unfortunate story. For example, his dribbling, one of his key attributes, his ability to glide, stop on a dime, and use his quickening pace to get by defenders. His take-ons, he went from completing nearly 3 take-ons a game at a 50% rate in his first season, to in his last season, 4 years on, when he should have more experience, barely completing half of that at a horrendous 29.5% success rate. So that should tell you everything that you need to know. His shot creating numbers went from nearly 5 a game in his first season to just 2.6 in his last season. So these are obvious declines that definitely can be linked back to those injuries that I talked about. He became a player that became too reliant on his pace to bail him out, as opposed to having the ability to weave in and out of tight spaces the way he used to in his first season. He also became a player that became passive in possession, mostly due to the fact that he didn't really have the trust of his coaches and his managers anymore. So he was looking to play and not make mistakes, as opposed to actually using the qualities that got him in such a high and really regarded position in the first place. In fact, this can help us seamlessly transition into the second factor, that really ruined his career at Chelsea, and that is the lack of a consistent role in the team after his first season. And I mean that in twofolds. One is the fact that if you look at the heat map of his first season, he played mostly on the left wing, which is where he played his best football and had his best season, and that was what he came in as. And then after Frank Lampard had left, his role on the team became hindered as he became used to playing in multiple different positions that didn't actually fit his playing style. And combine that with the decline due to the injuries, and this doesn't lead to very good development, especially a young player such as Pulisic. So constant changes in managers and systems at Chelsea are just not very conducive for the development of a young player. And this kind of leads us into number 3 of the factors that led to his decline, is the fact that he just didn't really play that much. What was crazy is that during his time in the Premier League, not once did Pulisic have a season where he played more than 27 games in a Premier League season, whether that be starting or just even coming off the bench. And even then, his bench minutes seemed to become the predominant part of his games that he played, as in the back half, not the back half of the season, but in the last season he played at Chelsea, he only started 8 out of the 25 games that he was giving. So when you combine all of these factors together, it's clearly obvious to see why a player who was thought to have such immense potential would seemingly fall off a cliff. So it's clear to see that injuries and inconsistency played a significant role in his decline. However, it's important to remember that he's still a young player with immense potential, and with the right support at AC Milan and a stroke of luck on the injury front, he has the ability to bounce back and regain his form. So what are your thoughts on Pulisic's decline? Do you believe he can overcome these obstacles and reach his previous heights? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more engaging content. Until next time, keep enjoying the beautiful game and make sure you have a nice day.